That Janelle, is there people waiting for public comment?
Yes.
Perfect. And I also received an email. Did you receive the email too, Janelle?
2 of them. But I should point out just for the record, Ms. Galloway, that your posting does not include public comment.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't include.
The special order did not, but the special meeting did not have a quorum, so we like to give them the opportunity to speak publicly.
Yeah, and I think, Janelle, technically the meeting was posted, a meeting, a hearing with a session to follow. And so, believe me, either way it go, I don't want the governor and them getting mad.
Okay, so we are live. Janelle, can you do well, first of all, I will bring this, has been titled a budget session, in which we have the ability to have a Q&A with the administration as it relates to our 2021 and 2022 proposed budget that is due to be accepted, adopted on June 1st. And so, Janelle, could you do a roll call for us, please?
Well, it's a budget session. There technically isn't a roll call.
Madam Janelle, please, point of order.
Point of order, Mr. Mays.
Janelle, could we do a roll call like she asked, please?
Thank you.
Mr. Mays.
Present.
Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Present.
Point of order.
Mr.
Could we do a roll call of the full council?
Janelle, could you please grant that request as asked by Councilman Mays, please?
Mr. Davis. Mr. Guerra. Ms. Fields. Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Present.
Mr. Winfrey.
Present.
Ms. Galloway.
Present.
Mr. Griggs.
Will you be quiet? I'm crying.
Somebody's phone is not muted, I don't think. Okay, so Mr. Mays, you called a special meeting, and in doing that, Mr. Mays, I was concerned that there wouldn't be a quorum, and so as this was used to have a budget session that did not require a quorum, I wanted to not eliminate our ability to ask questions, and so I'm going to turn it over to you. And anyone else?
In line with the governor's executive order and our best interpretation and intent, could you allow first to allow for public comment on this two-way opportunity?
Yes, sir. Thank you for reminding me of that. Janelle, can you please ask the speakers that would like to speak? Although the last one did not have it, it is a provision that is granted in the executive order. And since we did not have a quorum, we wanted to extend that opportunity for those that were hoping to have public comment during the special meeting. So if you could please allow that, Janelle, and then read any emailed comments into the record, I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, the first speaker, you are unmuted if you'd like to talk to the council. Speaker, I did unmute you. Did you hear it say unmute?
Yes, my name is Bonita Nelson. I reside at 506 East Pearson Road here in Flint, and I have two major concerns. The main one, and I've contacted the police department several times regarding this issue. The traffic on Pearson Road, I don't know whether they are vying for the NASCAR or Indy 500, but this traffic is flying through here every day, all day, and it's twice as bad on the weekend. And I thought I was under the understanding years ago that there's a noise ordinance here in Flint. My second issue, major one, is I have squatters next door to me, and one has already attempted to set a bonfire in the vacant lot that's between the houses. I've spoken with Mr. Murdoch twice about this. It's a blight situation going on over there. He does car repairs, and I know there's drug activity. I know that. Illegal parking and dumping is going on over there. I've called the mayor's office twice. I've called consumers. They have no record of anybody being in that house. It was condemned. It was deemed condemned years ago. And I called, and I had to leave a message with the land bank to find out who owned that house. The last person that I know of we haven't seen hide nor hair of her, but she had also been deemed a slumlord. As long as she got her money, she was fine. But these people have got to go. There's too much traffic. I am not well, have not been well, and the noise and traffic, they're parking on my property, even using my driveway.
Point of information.
Beg pardon?
Mr. Mays.
Point of information. Could the speaker identify the ward, which I know it is?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've spoken with Mr. Mays as well. He is my councilman. And I just spoke with him on yesterday. But this is...
Madam Chair, can you let the speaker know we'll respond?
Mr. Mays, you let her know. That's fine. We'll respond afterwards. So we let her complete her statement. If she's done, we'll go to the next caller.
Well, that is, like I said, this is my concern. It's a major nuisance and disturbance, and it's a health hazard to me with all of that trash and garbage behind that house, along the side of that house. But like I said, the traffic is 24/7, and they don't care who they disturb. Revving of engines when they try to repair these cars. This has never gone on until these people decided to move into that house. And
we'll let her wrap up since Mr. Mays interrupted. You can go ahead and finish.
Okay, I'm pretty much well done with that, but I need something. Something has to be done. These are seniors around here. We've never had to deal with this problem, and a majority of them refuse to call and report any of it.
Thank you. Mr. Mays will respond to your comment after all the speakers.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So I should remain on the line, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Angela.
You'll just be muted. Angela?
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I understand that you want to provide public comment, but the order of a regular business is where you have council responding, and I'm concerned that you're going beyond the bounds of a meeting that has a quorum versus one that does not. So I just want to respectfully mention that to you. So
okay, Madam President.
Wait a minute,
Madam President.
Mr. Mays, 1 second. So, Attorney Wheeler, are you saying us extending the courtesy of allowing the public to speak and the council to respond is a violation of any of the open meetings and or any other violations?
What I said was that I was concerned that now council was going to be responding when we don't have a meeting that's a quorum meeting. We have a meeting that's supposed to be a Q&A for a budget session. So I am giving you that information so you can make your own decision.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam. Yeah, Madam President, I can appreciate that information, and we will make our own decision. I hope we'll proceed with public comment pursuant to the governor's executive order that relates to meetings or hearings, is the language, and whether it's a budget session, budget hearing. I would wish that the legal counsel for the great city of Flint would have cautioned and had the same concerns when the president of this council was muted and the senior councilman Mays. And so I take it under advisement. We've got an important budget to do. We are in the middle of an emergency. We are acting in good faith to conform. We posted this meeting based upon our charter and the executive order, and the public is of our great concern. I hope we can proceed, Madam President, and I appreciate the same concerns raised when there's meetings with no rules.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, Janelle, next caller, please.
Okay. Caller, you are unmuted if you'd like to speak.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Beverly Lewis. I'm the executive director at Hasselbring Senior Center in the First Ward. Councilman Mays is my council person. I just, in respect to the budget, I would just like for council to please consider the two senior centers in the city, Hasselbring Senior Center and Brennan Center. We are struggling at this point in time to make sure that all of our seniors' needs are met, and additional funding is always a plus. And we would appreciate any help that you could give. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janelle, next speaker, please.
Yes, ma'am. Speaker, you are unmuted.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Deborah Holmes, and I'm calling from the Brennan Senior Center. And I would also like to piggyback on what Director Beverly Lewis said, that first of all, I'd like to thank the City Council for all the support that they have given both of the centers in the past. And I'm asking for consideration under this new fiscal year for the funding for the Brennan and Hasselbring Center. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker, you are unmuted.
Yeah, this is Stephen Solari. I'd like to start by saying that the willingness of these four council members coming together to discuss the 2021 budget is great. It doesn't surprise me that the Winfield Sanderson and from Hocus Pocus and Worthless Worthing aren't here. Fields Worthing, Great Zero, Bluesman bandwagon strikes again. There's no question that the Big Five are partnering with the Neely administration. The Mayor Neely administration knows exactly what they want. They want the freedom to disperse the funds as they see fit without consideration of running it by council. They want the freedom to use the funds how they please and as they see fit. Mays, we are counting on you to show your expertise when it comes to this budget. When you flip over a bill, it says, "In God we trust." The people of Flint, especially the people of Ward 1, would like to say, "In Mays we trust." Mays, take the wheel and lead us in the right direction. Scarsoni, Benzick, and Edwards are clueless and never have answers. We want answers. We're tired of hearing the same responses over and over again. I pray for a successful session where council can make strides in the right direction for the city of Flint during this 2021 budget. Finally, Attorney Angela Wheeler, I find it funny that you were early in this meeting and that during the meeting where Galloway and Mays were ejected and muted, you were late to that meeting. And I find it also funny that you comment on the legality of this meeting, but yet you refrain from making any comment during the last meeting when Galloway asked you about the legality concerning the meeting where she was illegally removed, as well as Mays. It's just very funny. That's it. Bye.
Next speaker, Janelle, please. Janelle, are you there?
Okay, I'll go to the next one. I couldn't get this one unmuted for some reason.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, caller, you are unmuted. If you'd like to speak.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, you are
Can you hear
unmuted
me?
if you'd like to speak. Yes.
Yes, my name is Darryl E. Buchanan, D-A-R-R-Y-L, Buchanan, B-U-C-H-A-N-A-N. I live at 6501 Karen Drive, Flint, Michigan. I'm in the First Ward. I'll be brief. I work for Mr. Benson and Judy Econ with Genesis Total Health and the Universal Health and Kidney Foundation. And we are still currently interested in purchasing 500 West Pearson Road to put in some programs that we believe that can help Flint through COVID-19 and help do some job-generating projects into the future. Our problem is we don't have a problem with consumers being there. We don't have a problem with anyone else who wants the property. We just need to know the process by which the Flint City Council is going to move forward to put that property back online and make it a productive site within the city of Flint. We don't know if it's going to be a request for a proposal. We don't know what the council will do with it, but we have checks available to purchase the property for what the council paid for it from the Genesee County Treasurer's Office. We just want to get an update as to how that project will move forward in the future.
Point of information, Madam President.
What's your point of information, Mr. Mays?
Two things. Is this former Councilman Darryl Buchanan, and what ward is that in?
I mentioned it earlier. That was Darryl Buchanan, former First Ward City Councilman. I'm the
Right.
project director for Genesis Total Healthcare LLC and the Universal Health and Kidney Foundation, founded by Mr. Benson and Judy Econ.
I knew it. I was just cheating and giving you a shout out.
I appreciate that. I know you guys have a lot of business to take care of, and I commend the city and the administration for working together to get this budget online. But that property is sitting in a unique position, and I believe that we have the capacity to turn it into an asset for the city and generate more income and jobs into Flint's future. We don't want to dictate to you how to put it back online, but we have the money to purchase it today, and we will participate in any process that you have that's competitive for people to acquire the property. We're just sitting back. We just want to know something because before we have to look elsewhere, we want to do a project in the city of Flint.
Janelle, next speaker, please.
Okay. Okay, speaker, you are unmuted.
Thank you. Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is A.C. Dumas. I live at 533 East Rankin Street. That's in the 3rd Ward. And I did send in a comment via email, and hopefully that'll be read. I wanted it to be read during the regular special council meeting, but that you didn't have one. I do want to talk about blight in the city of Flint. And in that email, I also sent pictures of blight in the 3rd, 5th Ward on Rankin Street, where in the middle of the street you have dumpsters. I sent that email to all the council person, to the mayor, to the news media, etc. Flint is dirty. Flint is nasty. Flint is junky all over this city. At Pierce School, you should drive by there in the parking lot. Mattresses and so on and so forth. Monica Galloway, that's in your ward. I don't know if you knew it or not, but Flint is just a junky city. And since the mayor fired Raul and put Mr. Whatever his name is, nothing has been done. Mr. Murdoch, nothing has been done. He fights senior citizen Eric Mays, but he doesn't fight blight in this community. This is a shame and a disgrace. I want to say this before I close, that we're headed back to an emergency management. This is the same type of shenanigans dealing with the water fund, people not paying their water bills, whatever, that led to a deficit in the water fund that brought in the emergency manager. History is very important, and you need to know your history. I'm appalled that Maurice Davis, who said he would be on the third ward, my councilperson who said they would be at the council meeting, they did not show up. I guess they got their marching orders from Mayor Neely not to show, so there would not be quorum. And finally, I want to say to Ms. Galloway, in response to the press release that Neely put out that you disrespected Madam Clerk Brown. I called Ms. Brown this morning and let her know that I was going to speak on that and send an email that I don't think you was disrespectful to Ms. Brown. You asked Ms. Brown a simple question about posting of a meeting of two council persons. You did not ask for a historical perspective of the city council, because historically what they did to you and Councilman Mays, a white council person, Kate Fields did to you and Mr. Mays, who are African-American council persons, was historically racism. That was racism at its best. And it was appalling, and I think that Ms. Brown should have answered the question, yes or no, the yes or no question. So I just want to let you all know that we're headed down to the road of an emergency manager takeover, and the council will be responsible, not the administration, because the council is the watchdog over the budget, not the administration. The administration proposes, and the council disposes. And so you're the watchdogs, and that's not in a watch guard. I'll use that over the budget. And it's sad to say that I don't know if you all read about the indictments yesterday in the Detroit News Free Press, but it's coming to Flint. Some of the ones that Mr. Neely appointed, Ms. Kate Field. Stay tuned. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you, Janelle. Any other comments?
Yes. Laura, you are unmuted. If you'd like to speak to council. Caller. You are unmuted if you'd like to speak to council. What?
This is Davina. That the one caller that you could not unmute, that's a system issue. For that caller, they have a 577 wireless number. I'm going to have to hang up on you because for some reason we can't see your mute button. So if you're trying to call, we can't unmute you. So you're going to get released from the call, and you'll need to call back in because for some reason the system isn't giving us the option to unmute you. It's a technical thing. So to that caller with the 577 wireless number, you're going to be dropped from the call, and you can call back in. You can go to the next caller in the meantime.
Thank you, Davina. Thank you, Janelle. Is there any further callers?
Yes. Next caller, you have been unmuted. If you'd like to speak to council. Okay. We'll go to the next one. Caller, you've been unmuted. Caller, you've been unmuted. If you'd like to speak to council.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Caller, you've been unmuted. If you'd like to speak to council.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Caller, you've been unmuted. If you'd like to speak to council. Caller, you've been unmuted if you'd like to speak to council.
No.
And, okay. I don't know if this is the same caller from before. Did you call back in? I don't want to miss you if you're here to talk to council. It's a restricted number?
Yeah, my Bluetooth wasn't working.
Okay, so you've already spoke, all right?
This is Stephen Saleri. Did you guys hear me earlier? Because it was cutting in and out.
It was kind of scratchy. Could we allow it, Madam President?
That's fine.
Can you guys hear me now? Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is Stephen Saleri. I'd like to start by saying that the willingness of these 4 council members coming together to discuss the 2021 budget is great. It doesn't surprise me that the Winford Sanderson from Hocus Pocus and Worthless Worthing aren't here. Fields Worthing Griggs Guerra Bluesman bandwagon strikes again. There's no question that the Big Five are partnering with the Neely administration. The Mayor Neely administration knows exactly what they want. They want the freedom to disperse the funds as they see fit without consideration of running it by the council. They want the freedom to use the funds how they please. Mays, we are counting on you to share your expertise when it comes to this budget. When you flip over any bill, it says, "In God we trust." The people of Flint, especially the people of the Ward 1, would like to say, "In Mays we trust." Mays, take the wheel and lead us in the right direction. We're counting on you. Scrisoni, Benzik, and Edwards are clueless and have no answers. We want answers. We're tired of hearing the same responses over and over again. I pray for a successful session where council can make strides in the right direction for the city of Flint during the 2021 budget. Finally, Attorney Angela Wheeler, I find it funny that you're early to this meeting and that you were late to the meeting where Mays and Galloway were illegally removed. I also find it funny that you were willing to give your legal opinion on this meeting. However, you failed to answer Galloway's question in the last meeting concerning the legality of the previous meeting. That's a bit funny. That's it. Thanks. Bye.
Janelle, is that the last comment? And are we going to...
No, the person that we could not unmute before is back.
Okay, thank you.
Caller, you are unmuted. We're able to unmute you if you'd like to speak to council.
This is actually Jeff from IT. I sent you an email letting you know who I was.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Don't need to be.
That would be it, Madam President.
And so now will you read the emails into the record, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
The first one is from Alea Lewis, 2nd Ward. Dear City Council and the Mayor's Office, it is such a slap in the face that so few on City Council nor in the Mayor's Office address our public comments. Why aren't you taking notes during public comment and giving us the courtesy of specific responses? Why don't Sheldon, Clyde, Larkin, and department heads jump on to add their 2 cents? At least pretend like you care about us. It feels like council despises us residents and are just mailing it in, collecting $25,000 a year in full fridge benefits for little effort or aid to your wards. When, if ever, is the last time any of you actually improved the quality of life for us? What, if anything, is your current goal in improving Flint and your ward? Please share those answers with us. Because conducting some bare minimum routine city business does not warrant grandstanding and camera mugging on Facebook and the local news. That goes to both City Council and especially the Mayor's Office, a mayor everyone in my house voted for. Demolition, cracking down on party stores, cracking down on slumlords, cleaning up dumping and trash, and public safety are fundamental issues you ignore and blame on conspiracies and scapegoats. Dumping is a suburban boogeyman. Trash on highways is MDOT's fault. Blight is a land bank gentrification conspiracy. Public safety is Michigan State Police's fault. Take agency in the lack of action from council and the mayor's office to aggressively attack these fundamental issues that make us the laughing stock of the country. Flint circles the drain and has the look and feel of a hopeless third world country. I don't know how anyone that collects a City of Flint check isn't mortified and painfully embarrassed looking at what this town has become. You run this town. You all made it this way. You all have not improved anything, nor do you have any grand plans that we're privy to. Just hot air and further decline. I'm sorry for my gloomy tone. Elia Lewis, 2nd Ward. The next one is from Kim Brown. Around the country, liquor stores have earlier closing times due to coronavirus. Why don't all Flint liquor stores have to adhere to Mayor Sheldon Neely's 9 p.m. curfew? Any need of essential items from these party stores can be done before 9 p.m. Further, would council and the mayor please consider new city ordinances to limit their closing hours on a permanent basis to a more reasonable 9, 10, or 11 p.m.? Nothing good happens at Flint liquor stores late at night. They've ruined Flint's perception, stoked crime, harmed our college's enrollments, lowered our property values, and stretch our thin police resources. In the same ordinance, please also ban their use of neon lighting and signage, and parking lot signage, and wall wrapping that pushes liquor, beer, and tobacco products. It's not just unsightly and low class, it's deliberately conditioning Flint youth and those susceptible to addiction to crave these products. Thank you for serving. Kim Brown in the 8th Ward. The next one is from A.C. Dumas. My name is A.C. Dumas, and I'm a resident of the war-torn 3rd Ward. First, I take exception of Mayor Sheldon Neely trying to divide this city and the city council more deeply than it is. He sent out a press release that Council President Monica Galloway disrespected Clerk Inez Brown at the last council meeting. Council President Galloway asked Clerk Brown a simple question regarding the charter and the posting of special meetings by 2 councilpersons. Clerk Brown began to talk about historical perspective, which had nothing to do with the legitimate question asked by Galloway. I was listening, awaiting for Clerk Brown's answer to the question posed by President Galloway. Galloway did get frustrated, but also apologized to Clerk Brown. And for the record, I called Clerk Brown and told her my position on the issue. This entire city looks like a 3rd world country. So much garbage, trash, mattresses, dumping sites, downed trees, tall grass, abandoned structures, and I'm not sure if it continues. There's pictures with it. And unkept vacant lots, etc. Mayor Neely fired the longtime City of Flint blight czar and replaced him with political appointee Murdoch, who chose to fight senior citizen 1st Ward Councilman Eric B. Mays than to fight blight in our city. I attached photos of Rankin Street in the 3rd, 5th Ward. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Thank you for your indulgence. The next one is from Gregory Jefferson. Hello. Why hasn't Eric Scorsoni, Amanda Trujillo, and or Angela Wheeler given City of Flint's 2019 and current 2020 salary roster to the local media for public viewing? I can Google Eric Scorsoni's and every one of his 13,000 Michigan State University colleagues' salaries as their public employees, and that's public information. So why is Eric Scorsoni hiding Flint employee taxpayer-funded salaries from the public? And why is such a simple FOIA request being ignored? We elected truth and transparency. What we got is sketchy bullies who curtail democracy. With budget issues at the local, county, and state level, and Flint lurching towards insolvency and another state takeover, is Mayor Sheldon Neely going to take a pay cut this year? He campaigned on Karen Weaver being, quote, greedy, unquote, for accepting a $125,000 salary as mayor. Yet when he was elected, we heard nothing about him reverting that salary back to $91,000. Is Neely being paid $125,000 at the moment? Does he plan to cut back to his $91,000, or was that a pathological lie? In addition to his wife's over $80,000 salary as state representative, their household income is over 8 times the median household in Flint. Their $200,000 plus household income puts them in the top 1% of all households in Genesee County. They are elites. All around Michigan, white-collar workers, blue-collar workers, government employees, government staffers lucky enough to still have a job are taking another pay cut. Yet we don't hear about any pay cuts to the 6-figure bosses in the city of Flint. Lastly, Eva Worthing, we had high hopes for you, but you've done absolutely nothing for our ward. Gregory Jefferson, 9th Ward. And the last one is from Gina Johnson. Dear City Council, does the city enforce the no cars in front yard ordinance anymore? Who do we call or email for that? Not only warning and ticketing, but does the city have a contract with the towing company to tow offenders' cars away? I know Angela Wheeler and Suzanne Wilcox wouldn't let their Grand Blanc and Owasso neighbors keep cars parked in their front yards. So why do Flint owner-occupied homeowners have to tolerate this low-class behavior and pretend nothing can be done? Our property values have been destroyed because nothing is enforced. Stop letting slumlords control Flint government, Flint coding, zoning, inspection, and Flint blight. At every level, we're screwed while our neighborhoods are destroyed. Our children live in well-run cities where you're ticketed for merely having one tire parked on the yard. That ticket is enforced by the local court. If the car remains on the front yard for more than 1 or 2 days, it's towed. So nobody does it. Neighborhoods are clean and property values rise. Thank you. Gina Johnson, 6th Ward. That's it, Madam President.
Thank you, Janelle. Councilman Mays, you wanted to respond. If anyone else would like to respond, please feel free to respond, Mr. Mays. There's no rules. This is a courtesy. We appreciate the city administrator stating that we are within the boundaries. We won't hold the administration very long, but we did try to consciously make our meeting during their work hours. And so, Mr. Mays, you have the floor.
Yeah, real quick, because the greatest courtesy is to those who vote for me or us, and people depend on us to answer our phone, and I do, and I try. Pearson Road, I asked her to call in so I could make a record. I want to refer that to the police department. I knew that at one point the chief was on the line. We have issues with traffic, not just on Pearson Road, but people get to flying. Unless we put more officers in this budget, which I'll propose to do, then we sometimes can't sit and do sting operations. We've done them on Home Street and other areas, but the squatters, I've talked to her because the courts are closed, but police need to look at it, even fire chief when they're doing bonfires. So I appreciate you calling in. The Hasselbrink and Brennan Centers, Mr. Scorsone, Amanda, you'll hear us talk about that and some proposed budget amendments, just as you'll hear us talk about the budget amendment that I think most people agree on with the Ombudsman's office and so forth and so on. Mr. Buchanan, I hear you. Mr. O'Leary, I don't know. You are a godsend because sometimes you need people to make it plain because it jives with my mind. Mr. Dumas, I'm not in favor of that press release, and I don't like black council people to be treated different from other council people, and male and female and good and bad and progressive and, conservative. And, right now we're in a political game and people are being seen. The water fund will be talked about, Mr. Dumas, in this budget proceeding. Stay tuned. It'll be quick. Grandstanding. Somebody sent an email from the 7th Ward say grandstanding rather than working on the quality of life. I'm going to wrap it up if that's the cue. But a lot of this stuff we'll get into. I look forward to the time ahead. Always, I want to hear from the public. That's the key to our meeting, public input. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. I want to thank my colleagues. This is what I'm learning is an informal budget session. It's what it's called. A Q&A. Yes, and Ms. Winfrey Carter, I wanted to extend it to you and Mr. Winfrey.
Okay, thank you. I would like to address Mr. A.C. Dumas. Mr. A.C. Dumas, thank you. I did drive by Rankin Street yesterday, and I was actually looking forward to seeing you, but I didn't see you out. Anyway, I did see not one. I saw one, but not only one, two dumpsters in the middle of the street with trash overflowing this trash is overflowing into the street. Okay, I did make a report. I asked for them to remove the one dumpster, but when I drove by there on yesterday, there were two dumpsters. So I would like, again, to make a referral, and I would like to add that to the referral of my list, and make sure that they collect the two dumpsters. And I did send a text message to Gary of Republic Services so that they can go over and remove those dumpsters. That is
now, Ms. Winfrey Carter. Ms.
Yes.
Winfrey Carter, in this meeting, from what I learned just from hearing from Ms. Fields, there's no official referral. So if I would give my colleagues some recommendation, I would recommend that you email our staff and ask them to put a referral together.
I will do that. But I just wanted to let Mr. A.C. Dumas know that I did see that on yesterday, and I did report that as well on Monday. So it will be taken care of soon, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winfrey.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of things is, as it relates to blight, I think this was Mr. Dumas that mentioned this, as well as others. A community is what it accepts, and I think to give this blight to an individual or to a group is disingenuous. I think it gives the perpetrators an excuse to continue to do what they do. We need to call them out, those that create blight. If somebody comes by my house and throws trash out, I'm going to get up and I'm going to pick it up. And I know there are some blight conditions that are much worse than that. But the resources of the city, in tandem with the efforts of so many willing residents in the community, is what we can do to abate this blight. And yes, we do need to do something to with the land bank, because a lot of their houses are creating this blighted situation in our community. But I think to give it to one individual like the council or the mayor, I think that's disingenuous. I think we need to call it what it is. It's folks that don't care about where they live, and they do that kind of stuff. And then we need to be able to have a mechanism or a machine that abates it when it happens. Two, I think to say that Mayor Neely called several people and told them not to participate, several council people, and told them not to participate, I don't think that's the way to do it. Unless you heard him, if it's speculative, that doesn't mean that he did it. Now, I talked to the mayor yesterday, and I talked to Kate Fields yesterday. I talked to Santino Guerra yesterday about some other issues. And I don't recall Councilman Guerra telling me that he would be here, but I do remember Councilwoman Fields saying that she would be here. So to say that the mayor has called them and said to them not to go, I think not to come to the meeting, I think we need to have proof that he said it. I think just to speculate, just because I speculate something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I believe those council people are not here because they choose not to be here, not because somebody told them not to come in. When I talked to the mayor yesterday about a couple of other issues, he didn't tell me not to be at this meeting, you know? So, and if he did, that's my choice. If he would have said that, that's my choice to decide whether I'm coming or not. Can't blame him for me making a stupid, in my opinion, if he said to me, don't go, and then I decide I'm not going. That's, to me, that's unprofessional. So I think that we need to quit blaming the mayor on the decisions that our colleagues make. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Winfrey. I just want to say thank you to, is there someone, is there an echo? Go ahead. Okay. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you to my colleagues. Thank you for the feedback from our city attorney. I think that the fact that the constituents had an opportunity to speak out, considering that our special meeting did not happen. I appreciate my colleagues for allowing them the opportunity. I am disappointed in the way the dialogue went between Ms. Brown and I. And I would hope that in the 6.5 years that I worked with Ms. Brown, even though it's interesting that Mr. Neely identified her as an employee, and she actually is an appointment of the council, and technically you could, you would see her as an employee. I don't think that any of us have ever treated her as an employee. What I was disappointed in is sometimes the historical history seems to usurp the authority that's given to us in the charter. And I just wanted some clarity. I respect her. She is highly regarded, not just by this community, but by me. And I'm sure that if anybody ever had a personal conversation or even professional conversation with Ms. Brown, she would tell you that I've never been disrespectful to her. And so it was a difficult conversation. I did apologize. And it's interesting that one sentence said that it's like talking to your grandmother. That's not the context. But I'm thankful that I've been watching a show called The Good Wife. And it tells you that in a political arena, people will dissect and change things to fit the narrative. And so, Mr. Dumas, thank you for that feedback. I will, usually the college cultural, anytime there's any overgrown trash over there, they do share it. Unfortunately, our staff has gotten more things from me because I provide them with pictures. I too don't understand, and we'll talk about that in the budget today, because I see that there is a blight management line item that wasn't in previous budgets that's here today. So let's get into the budget. Mr. Mays, I'm going to turn it over to you, because you originally wanted a special meeting, and I told you something that you would still have the ability to ask questions.
Thank you, everybody. Let's get started. Mr. Edwards, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, and you can help facilitate this if you choose. Mr. Corsoni, are you there? Amanda, you there? However y'all want to do this. Both of y'all are there?
I'm present.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Corsoni, each fiscal year we have 4 quarters, correct? First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with our new charter that we do quarterly reports and things of that nature? I can't hardly hear what's being said. Something's background noise. Can't you hear me, Mr. Spertone?
Yeah, there is some kind of background noise. Yes, I am.
Yeah, are you familiar with the language in the new charter that talks about our quarterly reports?
Yes.
Okay, so we're fixing to go into the first quarter. The first quarter of this upcoming fiscal year would be June, July, and August, correct?
No.
July, August, September.
Okay, July, August, and September. We adopted in June, but it starts in July. Thank you. July, August, and September. That would be the first quarter. So if that would give us 4 months in the middle of a pandemic to do what we normally do. Normally, if we ain't in a pandemic, we have budget hearings and sessions with each department head, and we see how many personnel, what's new, what's needed, how much equipment, how many trucks, how many cars. This is a different year in the pandemic that we've not been through that procedure and exercise. Amanda, you know that that's kind of true what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, no matter how good or how thorough we do it, at least we do that. Were you familiar with that process, Mr. Scorsoni?
Yes, I am.
Right. What about you, Mr. Edwards? You've heard or seen or know something about that type of process where we normally, if we wasn't in a pandemic, we would scrutinize the budget more specifically. Could you picture that?
Yes, I do have that understanding.
Right. So this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that the legacy costs and the contribution we make, however we get there, will go up about 10, 12 million or so, and we'll pull it from the $24 million fund balance. Would that be a fair statement, Mr. Scorsone or Amanda? You know, I prefer talking to Amanda, Mr. Scorsone, because she's sworn in and authorized. But anyway, I'll be sarcastic and real because this is budget today. I'll worry about government operations another day. Would that be a fair statement of how we pull in 12 or 14 million from the $24 million or $22 million fund balance?
Yes.
And if this is the mayor's budget, is this a call that was taken to the mayor that we should do that? I've heard the law requirements, or was this is the mayor's vision or his proposal? Is it a fair question to ask anybody?
You mean about the MERS portion?
No, because see, I'm a councilman, and I'm only one of 9. My vision is more like, okay, I haven't had time to look at it. I'll pass the first quarter, and then by the time we get to the second, third, and fourth, I've been and had time to look at the details. And so really this is a budget where the mayor's budget proposes that I open up the total purse. We've scrapped and struggled when the mayor was on the council with me and others. What happened was they had a $9 to $12 million deficit in the water fund. I know we're losing about $500 to $700 a month. Have we made any headway? Because I got to vote Monday on a proposed budget. Have we made any headway, Amanda or Mr. Scorsone or Clyde, on any emergency money coming in from the pandemic? The state was getting about $3.2 billion. I can estimate we done lost $300 to $400 million with no shutoffs. I can estimate that we've had some other losses in the water fund. I can predict citywide we need probably about 6 to 20 million because of the pandemic, the corona. Have we had any promises from Governor Whitmer and the state Republicans and any of them folks that we got any money coming in from the state and federal that we know right now today? Any millions?
Mr. Mays, I'm gonna jump in. This is Clyde. All of that which you're asking about, particularly as it relates to the state, is all matters under consideration right now. There's no definitive. They just had the revenue estimating meeting to determine how bad the damage is statewide. So there's been no real allocations that I'm aware of at this point concerning, getting various funds to localities to recover from them.
Janelle, I'm sorry. There's we
Go
can
ahead.
hear some people in the background.
Hey, Mr. Edwards.
I have no idea.
Yes, sir.
I can appreciate that. So that means you would probably agree with me, Mr. Scorsone, Amanda, and you. I know Amanda particularly would if we losing 500 to 700,000 a month with no shutoffs. Because if I ain't getting shut off, I've been juggling and not paying a bill. I got one. But my point is this: we done spent money as it relates to the pandemic that we didn't think we would spend, and we done lost money connected to the pandemic that when we did the fiscal year last year, we didn't think we'd lose. So the answer would be we spent money. I can estimate what we spent and lost roughly, and we ain't got a promise of a $1 million yet, let alone 6 or 10. Okay, so now I got to do a budget knowing that. Mr. Scorsone, wouldn't it be safe if I'm a trustee of the purse strings in the city until we get that money? Shouldn't I hold on to the fund balance versus it loose. I mean, maybe I do trust the administration, but I'm the trustee. Shouldn't I inch that money out rather than open it up all at one time under the circumstances, if you get my drift? Anybody?
This Clyde again, Mr. Mays. The budget was orchestrated, as we've been saying, and we're going to continue to repetitively say, the budget was constructed to maintain the highest level of services possible with the personnel and resources that we have without effectuating layoffs and affecting the Flint employee family. We want to do the best for the community.
I got that.
Yeah,
I got it. So can't we do it? Can't we do it quarter by quarter under the circumstances? Let's say I give you everything in the first quarter. Now we got 3 months. We might be in a pandemic. We might still be living. We might still be dead. I hope I don't get bit by the virus. But if I believe that, and I say I trust the administration, I haven't scrutinized this $72 million budget. I hear it. I understand it. No layoffs. What's wrong with me saying to Mr. Scarsoni, yourself, and Amanda, this is what amendment I need brought to me from my staff, but I need you to help me. I'm listening. Go ahead.
As you look at the charter situation, or the charter and the charter language, it talks about an annual budget. I mean, it's not talking about a piecemeal.
Oh, I'm going to give you the annual budget, but the annual budget in the second, third, and fourth quarter going to look kind of like last year's annual budget. It ain't going to have y'all expenditures in there out the general fund. Now, the first quarter going to have it. You got to listen to what I'm saying. And then by the time you get to the second quarter, you going to convince me to do the additional allocation. See, what I'm trying to get done today here, it might fail, but I want Mr. Scarsoni and Amanda to look at the budget, because I don't have to ask questions. It's time to set the budget. It's time to amend the budget. Let's do an easy process first. Mr. Scarsoni, Amanda, and Clyde, I want to put an additional $200,000. I want a resolution, and our staff can help do it, but you got to help our staff. I want a resolution that puts an additional $200,000 with the ombudsman's office. Now, I'm only one council person, but I get the right to come to the meeting with a resolution. The administration can come to the meeting with a resolution, Ms. Galloway, or we could do it as a group. If my colleagues was here, we could settle this. We could settle it Thursday or Friday, because we posted another meeting. I don't think nobody in the administration or the council, but what do I know? We need a resolution drafted. When I got illegally put out the meeting, Mr. Scarsoni, you said you would come with the figures. What's your figures for the ombudsman's office? I got mine. I'll go 200 to 300,000. They setting up. What's your figure?
Just all we're thinking is, I mean, it's obviously up to you, but we at least 143,000. That would be the max. 143.
Well, I could hear from my colleagues. They hear the ones that's here. I'm thinking 200,000, because Mr. Scarsoni, the charter mandated 250,000, but what I heard, because I've been meeting with them for months, even when I was finance chair, I was meeting with the Ethics and Accountability Board. I'm going to try to get him a little money too. But my point is this. When you put the mandated 250,000, didn't I hear that 100 and some thousand went to pension, legacy, or some type of retirement? Because where did that money disappear to off the top? It went to what?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Yeah, do anybody know? Somebody had me with the feeling that, okay, the 250,000 was there, but off the top, it went to some type of legacy cost. Is that a fact or fiction?
That is correct. Every department, regardless if they're in the defined benefit or defined contribution, every department has the legacy costs added to their wages and salaries and fringe benefits.
And Amanda, do you know off the top how much of that $250,000 went to legacy costs?
No, but I can try and find it real quick.
That's okay. I know about it. It's about 100 and some thousand. But let me say this to Mr. Scorsone, the council, the public, and to Mr. Edwards and everybody. This is my position. The Ombudsman's office was voted upon. It's necessary. It can hold me accountable. It can make a report if I act a fool. It can make a report and hold the city attorney's office accountable. It can do police investigations. We dealing with a national case. I ain't saying it happened in Flint, but I see the police putting their knee on a man's neck. The ombudsman got to pick and choose what they prioritize and do, because we not going to fund it $1 million or $2 million. We ain't going to have them looking like a law office with plenty of staff, but we got to give them some. I'm proposing we start with a resolution brought by tomorrow. We'll see if they show up and vote on it, or Monday. But I want to see if between the staffs, who want to draw up the resolution? Do you need our staff to draw it up, or y'all want to work on the ombudsman together? But I think the figure to the ombudsman should be a minimum of $200,000 to start. Is that something we can agree on, or we come back tomorrow and we firm that up?
Well,
how do y'all want to do it?
$250,000.
Yeah, and that would be no. Listen to my point. They kind of overlapping budgets. She done started setting that office up out of the $250,000 that was in the fiscal year 1920. Let's say she done spent any or all of it. I'm saying for fiscal year 2020-21, I want the $250,000 and an additional $200,000, because out of that first $250,000, y'all might snatch, or the system might snatch 140 or 60. If it leave 100, then she gonna still have 200,000 more. She's trying to set up her office with 300,000. You see what I'm suggesting?
Yes, but where are you taking the money from?
Well, right now, fund balance. That's where it always had to came from. That's where y'all done took money. I ain't saying y'all, but this budget proposes taking 12 to 14 million or so out of the fund balance and paying all legacy costs and doing it Monday. And I'm trying to tell you, I'm fixing to propose a budget that's going to be fiscally sound. It's going to give us an opportunity to wait to see what we get from the state. It's going to give us an opportunity every quarter to amend Neely's budget and give him everything he wants if we can. And it's going to allow us to keep a rainy day fund in case the Scott Kincaid lawsuit come up and we ain't caught off guard. In other words, we going to get it done, and we going to maintain services. So I'm trying to go amendment by amendment, and the first one was, I would suggest, unless my colleagues or somebody had different, let's just get the ombudsman straightened out. Take it from the fund balance. Mr. Scorsone, Amanda, colleagues, what you think?
Well, I mean, that's fine, but who normally does your resolutions?
Beg your pardon?
Who normally does your resolution?
Well, we'll work on that one. Davina, if y'all give her the account numbers now, where they go into and where they come out, y'all could. That's what we in a working session.
Okay.
Davina, can you and Janelle record these account numbers? Where it come out and where it go?
Tell us the specifics. We can prepare a resolution to that effect.
Yeah, well, the specific's going to be the ombudsman's account, and the specific going to be the fund balance account, and then the other specific would be, unless somebody say something different right now, 200,000. Now, we don't have to agree, because if my colleagues who is present agree, or if we negotiate a lower or higher price, I'm just, we just making sure we're going to get some work done. Time is running out. Monday is D-Day.
And so do you want this spread out the same way it is currently, between wages and professional service? Do you want the ombudsman's budget to be spread out how it is currently between, because most of it looks like it was removed from, well, it looks like it was between salaries and professional service. So is that how you want it distributed again? I
want the ombudsman to be able to decide that. Mr. Scarsoni, you know how to make sure we can put it where, let the ombudsman set it up what she wanted to be. Salaries, professional services, she's getting set up. I know when Terry Bankert and Brenda Purefoy and them and some of them was here, them ombudsman's budgets matter. You look at the history of them, they might have been $300,000-400,000. Somebody on the Charter Revision Commission didn't quite know. They had a good faith effort. They put $250,000, but that ain't, they just didn't know. We got to fix it.
Mr. Mays, did you want to see if any of your other colleagues, Ms. Winfrey Carter or Mr. Winfrey, I'm going to let you continue on our wait and see if anybody...
Yeah, on that, yeah, they can. You can. It's open on the ombudsman.
This is Angela. May I?
Please.
I just want everybody to understand that even though there's questions being answered, being responded to by the staff, understand that you have to stay away from deliberating about an issue that's going to be before the council. Remember, it's a budget session, a Q&A back and forth with administration. So I just want to warn you that as the others start to discuss, that
let me ask you this
questions.
Point of information.
Explain what a deliberation is. What part of what he's doing?
Point of information.
Mr. Mays, what is your point of information?
Through you to the speaker, Ms. Wheeler, where do the language of 3 or more can meet, but it have to be posted come in at?
I don't understand your question. What do you mean where that comes in?
You got charter language as it relates to a council meeting of 3 or more in the charter. It says if 3 or more meet, it must be posted. This is a posted meeting as we try to take care of this business in the middle of a pandemic and an emergency. It's no different when the white lady was chairing.
Mr. Mays.
Now you got a black lady chairing, and I hear a whole lot of chatter. Can we proceed with this important business? And then let the tip fall as they may with like they did with the white folks.
Mr. Mays, we're going to refrain from racial statements, Mr. Mays.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Miss Attorney Wheeler, can you explain what is termed, and Mr. Mays, give me a moment just to express some things. Attorney Wheeler, can you explain what is considered deliberation and what is this considered a Q&A?
The Q&A is asking a question to the staff to get information. It's to get information. It's questions and answers. If you're doing a deliberation, then you're making a decision about where you're moving money from here and there, and then you're asking the council to weigh in on that. It was okay when you had Councilman Mays asking the staff, but I just want to make sure you don't go too far afield because you want to be able to have your session, okay? But the problem is now you're going to have everybody else join in on that. And so I'm just asking you to just stay within those boundaries, please.
So, Attorney Wheeler, if I ask Mr. Mays, so what is a question if I ask all my council people, okay, are you guys fine with balancing this budget with the That's not a deliberation.
You're asking questions to. This is for the staff to answer your questions, not for you guys to talk amongst yourself.
Well, I'm just asking because at the end of that last budget session, Councilwoman Fields asked each council person round robin, how do you feel about using the fund balance to balance this budget? And they all went around and expressed, and then Mr. Griggs didn't express. He talked about something else, and Ms. Fields went back and said, well, Mr. Griggs, I understand all of that, but you didn't answer my original question of how you feel about spending fund balance to balance this budget. And so you didn't interrupt. And so please understand that I am legitimately asking what deliberation is, because that seems like deliberation, but I didn't hear anybody.
Are we talking about that meeting, or are we talking about this meeting? Because I'm trying to talk about this meeting right now. And in the last meeting, when there was discussion about referrals, I spoke up and I said, don't talk about the referrals. So, like I said,
I'm not going to argue.
Point of order.
I'm literally trying to get a better understanding. Mr. Mays, what's your point of order, sir?
Can we get to the orders of the day and let's get this business taken care of?
Mr. Mays, but I just want to understand deliberation. I don't want to be confused, and I don't want to be out of order in any way.
This meeting has been posted.
Go ahead, Mr. Mays. You're all set.
Okay. So where we left off at, Davina, are you listening?
Yeah.
Janelle, you got the information you need for this proposed budget amendment. We will deliberate it, discuss it, and vote on it. And then whenever we get a quorum, I hope that we have a quorum either tomorrow or Monday. Monday, we will have one. I'm going to see how many people agree or disagree on a individual resolution that I know that can be an amendment. You got the information you need for what we've talked about on that particular one? And if not, Amanda and Mr. Scorsone and Clyde, can you assist our staff on that? And you can do it now or later. I'll pause and y'all can do it now. But I'm not going to be doing the paperwork. So I really want this ombudsman thing to get, drew up where we can do an amendment to this budget.
Mr. Mays, I have a question.
You need any information? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a question of clarification from what you've been talking about.
Sure.
Now, are you asking for the total budget to be lifted to the $200,000, or are you just asking, or are you asking additional to what's already there?
Yeah, see, I think this the process I'm looking at, Mr. Edwards. If I understand your question, if I don't, just interrupt me. Y'all proposed a budget. It leaves a $6 million or so projected fund balance in the fund balance. And so now we would take an additional $200,000 out, and that's so far the only talked about amendment. So y'all budget would still be there, but it would have an additional $200,000 taken out of the remaining fund balance for the ombudsman. Now, don't get me wrong. As we propose other amendments, money might go back and forth, but we're just working off of your proposed budget.
Yeah. So so you're. Just to be clear, I'm still just want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying. Yeah, you're whatever's already there that had already been placed in the ombudsman's budget, then you're just saying you want to add an additional $200,000 to that amount. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Now, when it comes to the Ethics and Accountability Board, while we're in that arena, I would do the same thing with them, starting them off with somewhere between 50 and 75,000. The reason I would go to 50 because we had all agreed as a council to give them 50 last time, and then there was some talk about some documents that had been shredded. They never got a dime. I'll worry about how to get it out and administer it later. We can do that in government operations. But I do budgetary-wise want to see if we can go through that same process we just went through with the ombudsman's office for $50,000 for the Ethics and Accountability legal department, for example, accountable, and they don't want to be consulting with the people who they holding accountable. So I would want them to have 50 or 75,000 because they might have to get some outside legal counsel. But just like the planning commission, the city council staff, Miss Brown and Janelle Nim, they did a courtesy. And like the planning commission, when Suzanne and that staff be in there meeting with those volunteers, the volunteers of the Ethics and Accountability Board need secretaries and staff. Now, maybe we can work it out governmental operation-wise to pay overtime, but I wouldn't want to pay it out of the council's budget. I'd want to pay it out of the budget set aside for them. And we can amend it if need be. But I think, and if they have some left over, it goes back to the fund balance. I'd like to do a resolution for $50,000 for the Ethics and Accountability Board. And we would need that same account information or create a new account, Amanda or Mr. Scarsoni. Would we have to create a new account, Amanda?
I believe so, yes. I don't
so
see it on here.
Right. It would be a new category. They have been struggling and doing a good job. I kind of look at them like the planning commission, and I want them to have the same ability to have legal and to have staff helping keeping their files and minutes. They work hand in hand with the ombudsman's office under the new charter. I wanted to say 75, but they can come talk to us any day of the week, and we can do an amendment. But I do want to start them out with 50,000. Amanda, how would we do that in a resolution, Davina? You would have to give us a new account number, and it would come out of the same fund balance.
I believe so. This is the one part of the budget hearings that I'm not familiar with any changes that the council wants to make and how that is processed, like if Davina does all the resolutions or how that works. So, I mean, that's something that, I can speak with Davina, offline to, make sure that we do the correct procedures.
Right, and that's why when Ms. Fields was saying we ain't going to do this until the meeting Monday, I thought that was impossible, and maybe it is. People sharper than me, and they talking behind the scenes. I'm talking open, honest, and transparent in a public meeting as I'm sworn and mandated to do, and to have public kick feedback back and forth, particularly on the budget. So, Davina, those are two different amendments, because we're going to see when my colleagues really deliberate and make decisions which ones pass and which ones fail. But we do have the right in a pandemic to go through a budget process. So, Davina, I hear that resolution won't be a problem because Amanda says she'll talk. Let's go to blight. I'm going to need you, Mr. Scarsoni and Amanda and Clyde. Can you turn to the page on blight, and I'm going to tell you what I see, or you tell me what you see. I'm going to try to increase that budget in blight. Tell me what you got for blight. What's the bottom line? When I looked at it, I seen salaries. I seen other things. Let me get that page. You tell me what you see, and then I'm going to give you that proposal. And then let our staff.
Interject
yeah.
For a quick second. So, Mr. Scarsoni, are you there? Mr. Scarsoni? Amanda? Eric Scarsoni, though. Is Mr. Scarsoni on too?
He might have a lead. Oh, he's still there? Okay.
Between the two of you, I did send some questions, and I did get the responses, but the responses do not respond to the questions that I have. One of the questions that I had is I noticed that there were new departments that were not in the previous budgets, and one of them was blight management. Mr. Mays, is that the one that you're speaking of?
Can I interject? This is Clyde.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's no. Those wouldn't be considered if you look at the numbers, they come under 171, which is the mayor's category. That's a division.
Right.
That's a division of the mayor's budget. It doesn't take on a separate identity all its own. It's just part of the mayor's budget.
But it has, wait, Mr. Mays, it has a different number. It has 171,300. And so even though it falls under the 171, which is the office of the mayor, it has a different number. The mayor's office is 171.100. This is 171.300. So maybe you can explain to me the difference in those, if there is a difference in the department. The numbers are different. What do those numbers mean, Mr. Scorzoni or Amanda? Can you tell me why those numbers are different if they in fact are the same?
Well, that's Dwight is moving out of planning and development over to the mayor's.
But it has a different department number. Can you explain to me what it means when we have different department numbers?
Well, that's how we differentiate between each one. It will go by fund and department. And so when it moved over, I believe that's when it was changing over. That number was changing over also. But I can check.
Yeah,
for clarification, Amanda, you probably can jump in for clarification on this. The 101 is the fund. The 171 is the department. And then the next set of numbers give direction to where that specific item falls under that department. That's the way I've been told.
Correct. That's my interpretation also.
And that's fine, Amanda, but if you look at your own budget that you guys provided to us, you will see the general fund is, in fact, 101. Yes. The council has a department 101.100. District Court has a department, 136.100. The Charter Commission, 170.100. The Mayor's Office, 171.100. The Blight Management, 171.300. City Administrator, 172.100.
Let's stop you can stop right there, because that you're making my point. As it changed to my department, you got a different number. One that I'm in the executive wing, but I have my own department number. I'm a part of the administration, but I have my own department number.
Right, but the Blight Management, Clive, are you looking at your budget?
I have the whole budget. I have the original one from BS&A printed out. I'm looking at it. 171 is the department number. That's not going to change.
Right.
You're not going to. You're not going to convince me to change it. 171 is the department.
So the mayor. So let's just talk about the reality of. I don't have a problem with that, right? But what I can tell you is that in the previous budget, there was no 171.300.
Every time the administration can fragment parts of itself without creating departments. The administration, just like on other levels of government. I'm sorry?
Ms. Galloway.
Mr. Mays, please let me finish, sir.
That's what I was trying to do on this particular item, and I'm being courteous, but I want to help you.
Mr. Mays, I just want to make sure that if this is where we're putting Blight money now, I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. Is that fair?
Right. It might be, and it might be in more than one or two places. I just want to focus on this 56,000 and 174,000 and talk specifically, because really we do a 2-year budget.
That's where I'm at.
But
perfect.
Okay, and so that's where I was at. I want to make sure that we fund and Blight properly, whether they got 2 or 3 accounts.
Perfect. That's all I wanted to make sure. Like I said, this.
But can we do this? Can we see if Ms. Winfrey Carter or Mr. Winfrey? I mean, I don't want to just talk. I said I'm just one council person. And I want to really just get it done. I don't want to interfere with what you saying, they saying, or nothing. So I'm going to be quiet, and then you'll tell me when I can talk again. But I just had to say that. It could be 2, 3 departments, and, you know.
And that's fine, Mr. Mays, but if it is 2 or 3 departments, I'd like to know where I'm looking if you're talking about funding departments. And so I just wanted to understand, in this budget, is this the only blight management budget in the 101 fund, Clive? Or, I'm sorry, not Clive, Mr. Scorzoni and Amanda. Is this the only place that, I mean, I'm talking about in the 101 fund, is this the only allocation for blight?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Mays, that's all I wanted to know because I wanted to know where we're working out of. So right now, we only have blight funded for $174,560, it looks like, Amanda. Well, that's recommended.
That I'm not sure. I can find out for you. I can ask and get that. What all the costs will be in there.
Mr. Mays.
Madam President, through you to Ms. Winfrey Carter. Ms. Winfrey Carter, you listening to this conversation?
I am, and I'm very, very interested in blight.
Anything you think?
And she's
I'm
asked
sorry.
some questions that I want to hear answers to, because I have the same question. I want to find out, okay, what is capital outlay? What entails that? And then it doesn't look like, how many people are we work under the blight management division? I know Murdoch, but who else? Mr. Edwards.
There are. I mean, that's the problem. That's not to make an excuse. I'm not making an excuse, but I'm just letting you know that is a.
I don't feel one way or another, Mr. Edwards. We are new, and we doing this, trying to do this for the citizens of the city of Flint. Just to be honest and straight up, we trying to make it good.
I just didn't want my statement to be taken in a different way. I'm saying that blight is a small operation. Mr. Murdoch is only one person of the way I understand it. The actual people that go out there, there's 2 laborers. There's actually 2 laborers that handle accordingly the on-site operations, if you will.
I like these earplugs.
So
I'm sorry.
I'm hearing interference here.
I did too.
There's someone that maybe wasn't muted. I think it's done now. Go ahead, Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Okay. So I'm looking at 118,210 as far as for salaries, wages, and fringes. Okay, so I know that Lindsay also works in the blight department. Does this also take care of her salary plus the 2 laborers? Where is the other part of blight?
That's the salary and fringes, and if Amanda or Eric want to jump in, they can. That is the salaries and fringes portion of it, but I do have the understanding that there's a portion, like you're talking about the other individuals, there's a portion that I believe comes from grant funding from another department, or it comes out of planning and development, or had come out of planning and development.
Yeah, I saw something, but I can't find where it is. I'll have to look again closely. I should have highlighted.
Madam President.
Mr. Mays, I just want to ask one question. Mr. Edwards, Mr. Murdoch was originally identified as the Deputy Chief of Staff for the Mayor's office. Is he in fact holding two titles, or has he been shifted from that area over into Blight, or is he wearing two hats with two different, I don't know, is he a salaried employee? Is he on a memorandum of understanding? Is he funded with grant dollars, or is he strictly funded out of the 101 fund? So is he Deputy Chief of Staff, or is he now fully Blight?
This area of concern, which is the Blight management, falls under his purview as a deputy chief. So
the relevant question is, does his salary come out of this 118 that Ms. Winfrey talked about, or is it coming out of another place? Because I think we're going to try to add more to Blight once we zero in on it.
Understood. I cannot answer that question at this point. If Eric or Amanda are on the phone, they'll be more equipped to address that particular. Or Attorney Wheeler, any of those folks may have a deeper knowledge of that aspect.
So he is the deputy chief. Wait, Mr. Mays, please let me just finish my line of questions. So
you ain't let me finish yet, but I'm in a good mood today. Go ahead.
Mr. Mays, do you realize that I gave you the floor as soon as we turned it over? You've been talking for.
That's why I thought of meeting. I'm okay. I'm gonna still wait to hear from her, but go ahead. I'm good. We got time.
Mr. Edwards, so he is actually the deputy chief, but he is over the Blight department for the city now.
That is his scope of authority. Yes.
Okay. And so is he under? So Attorney Wheeler, are you there? Is he a MOU?
No, she's not. I'm filling in for this Attorney Millhouse.
Oh, hello, Mr. Millhouse. Good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
I am fabulous. So are you able to answer these questions, Mr. Attorney Millhouse?
No, I'm not able to answer that question at this time.
Come on, Ms. Galloway. These questions are budgetary as to who is allocating the budget in what places and what accounts. We set the budget. It's past time to ask. It's time for us to ask. We've got to know where we want to put money. Let's get it going.
Mr. Mays, I'm going to need you to allow me some latitude, too. This is helping me, because if Mr. Murdoch is now Raul Garcia, but in fact he's being funded out of the mayor's budget as the deputy chief, that means that the funding in the Blight Management Department means that there's more money to have blighted staff. So I'm clear about my budgetary questions. And so that I will wait to hear what that is, because that would mean that we don't have to staff him out of Blight Management, and we can possibly get more employees over there. So, Mr. Mays, go ahead and take the floor again.
Yeah, my thing, though, Ms. Galloway, would be even with him, wherever he paid from, it looked like it would be my thoughts that we need more in that area based upon all these mattresses and things I see sitting around. Whether they spend it and we allocate it, that's going to be up to them. Mr. Winfrey, when y'all was in the other session, Ms. Galloway, Ms. Winfrey Carter, and myself was gone, when they asked to have any questions, did you think to ask about any of these specific questions, or do you see the value in what we're doing or trying to do now? Mr. Winfrey. Clyde, let me do this, Mr. Scarsone, Amanda, Clyde. Let's say the blight operation, you got two laborers, sometimes we borrow equipment from street maintenance. Are y'all familiar with those budgetary items as it relates to blight? We use backhoes and equipment from street maintenance in order to pick up blight. Are y'all familiar with that sharing of equipment? Anybody?
I recently became familiar with the fact that, yes, as you're correctly stating, backhoes from street maintenance have been used to clear offending sites.
Right. And see, this has always been my concern each year. Do we need backhoes and equipment that's for blight, or do we continue to borrow when we can from street maintenance? Now, my opinion is a little different. My opinion is that we need to fund the blight department and equip it with equipment and or the personnel, because that's one of my most frequent calls as a council person, and you can hear it all through public comment. So it's budget time. And is Rob Benzick on the line? And see, that's why I said tomorrow, because if my colleagues don't want to come up and put together a budget and don't want to make amendments, they don't even realize that they have the opportunity, some of them, to do the budget. They think that the mayor does the budget. They just rubber stamp whatever the mayor wants. They don't know they get to do their priorities. If their residents need blight, you put $1 million or $2 million in blight. If their residents need police, you put more police on the street. They don't even know that this is their only opportunity once a year to allocate a budget and then ask the mayor, the chief executive officer, to administer that budget. I think people screwed up on the process. They be, what do you think? No, it's what do you think? Based upon your election and your duty as a legislative body to allocate budgets, what do you think the people want you to do to make their city better and a quality of life? That's what the lady called in for earlier. They begging us, take care of blight. They begging us and telling us what to do. And then I've been a councilman, you know what the priorities are. So this would be another budget amendment. And if you don't spend it, if you don't clean up the city, put it back to the fund balance. Let's cut through the chase. Now, Amanda, do we have a account number that we can move money from the fund balance for blight? And if so, Davina, can you hear me as I talk about a amendment that would put more money into the city of Flint to keep it clean for blight? That's going to be a resolution if it's just coming from me, however we do it, but we'll get together as a council. I'll take a breath, and it's a couple more amendments, but this is one I want as well. This will be the third one. How much for blight? Do we get them their own backhoe and equipment? Or do we get them 2 or 3 more personnel? When the street maintenance equipment come over, it usually be 3 or 4 people out there helping out in that area. And I'm knowing what it takes. So we're going to make a bold move for blight. And I'm going to probably try to make a bold move of an additional, because we can do amendments throughout the year. But I want to make a statement. I want to serve the people who I'm elected to do. Davina, let's do a resolution to move $600,000 for blight. And I'm looking at a couple more people working and maybe a piece of equipment or so.
Mr. Mays, it's Clyde.
Yeah.
I just, once again, just a clarification on what you're saying. So are you asking for an additional, that's not the total amount you're calling for, but are you asking for an additional $600,000 to be added to that department? Or that
I ain't took nothing away from what y'all done proposed so far. I'm doing additions right now. I'll do my takeaways later. That's going to have to do something with my takeaways. You'll hear them right now. This is additions.
Thank you.
To what y'all already proposed.
Thank you.
Okay. You say you got 19 unfilled positions in the police department. Is the chief still there?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you there, Chief?
Yes,
Chief Hart.
Oh, there's Bart.
Yeah. Oh, Chief Hart ain't there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, because I know, you the chief, but I don't like to keep police off the street, but you the chief. I listened close to the meeting that I thought was illegal. I mean, I've been arrested, but didn't nobody get arrested for what I think was illegally keeping my voice out of a budget process, but that's another thing. 19 or so unfilled positions. Ain't that the number I heard you talk about?
That's correct. We had 16 that were budgeted in, and I've had 3 people that have retired and or resigned their positions over the last 2 months.
So you saying the 6 is making it 19, or it's 19 plus 6?
No, it's 19 total. The 3 that I had retired and resigned kicked up the 16 to a total of 19.
Okay, that's how you got to the 19. When I always done arithmetic over the years for police officers, I say for every police officer it's $100,000 or so. And so if it's 10 of them, that's $1 million. If it's 20 of them, it's $2 million. Now, them 19 positions, the process and the hiring and the training, however it happened, I would never say I'm fixing to take them 19 positions monies out. I want to keep them there in the budget. If you fill them, then they budget it. If you don't fill them, Chief, you know where that money go back to?
Yes, sir. General fund.
That's correct. So could you use an additional 10 or 20 police officers budgeted in? Because every year, last year I lost a vote. 4 yes and 5 no. Every year. This is my 7th year. I try to put police on the street. Do you have a number that would be reasonable, even and you ain't the bad guy? You ain't proposing it. It's Councilman Mays asking questions. Give me a number, if you could. How many would you put on in the budget, additional to the 19?
Additional to the 19, I would ask for probably another 50, sir.
Yeah, see, you up at $5 million. You's a wise man. That's the best answer I've heard in 7 years of being a councilman. Now, let me say this, Chief. I don't know if I want to propose $5 million moving, because if you didn't fill it, it would go back. But that would be a little irresponsible. But I will, Davina, here go a amendment I'm going to try to do. I would try to do, and Clyde, if you can ask the same question, it's going to be the same answer. This is an add, not a takeaway. I'm going to get to the takeaways. But, Chief, just because I'm trying to take a slow process, you got 19. I don't know if y'all can accelerate it or get them. I even got some houses for the new ones in the land bank. If they come to Flint, I want to try to get government or operations to say the first 3 years they can have a house and a ward in the city paid for with them, and then they could keep it or sell it or do after whatever. But that's a whole nother thing. But I'm going to propose 1 million, 10 officers.
Okay.
10 officers. And then if we can fill them, if we can get them, or if the money go back, we'll see. But I want to put a carrot on the stick, because I get calls. We call the police, they don't show up, call the police, don't show up. And I know I called 911, and you got somebody that got shot, 3 cars tied up. You know, I'm pushing for 20. I ain't at your 50, but I will make a good faith effort. Davina, resolution for $1 million addition. That would be about 10 police. And then I would say this, Amanda, Eric Scorsoni, them account numbers. Do y'all want to take care of that now with Davina, or y'all just going to sit and do this between now and tomorrow?
Yeah, let them do it. We can't talk.
Well, let them answer, Ms. Galloway. They can talk amongst themselves, and we can quit being so hung up on all that legal advice. It was no legal advice coming. We got a budget to do. We're in the middle of an emergency. Let them talk for themselves, please.
We can work with
Davina, Amanda, Eric, you say you'll work with?
We work with Davina, yes, to get it.
Okay. And so, Ms. Galloway, there it is. I'd like for them to say it. You always say on the record, we can't just interrupt, because if it don't get done, we ain't got no amendments. Okay, Chief, and we'll work as we go. But I mean, this is just some vision talk, and we'll see what amends and what don't. Anything else you need me to know? Because, Chief, I talked to somebody, an officer, the other day. Now, listen to this, and you tell me. We short of officers on the street, right?
Yes.
But officers, when they pull somebody over or they make an arrest, they have to do a report, correct?
Correct.
And when they do that report, it takes time, correct?
Yes.
And so why haven't the police department or any police department in the budget asked me for an amount of money that give them some type of audio recording? You can talk to computers, and they can have secretaries to edit reports. Any type of audio recording or video to help do these reports. Can we interject some technology in the Flint Police Department to help them patrol people in that sense with their reports? Can you give me some feedback? Because I got a price figure for it.
Certainly I can. Yes, and apparently I'm understanding that has been looked at in the past. I'm certainly willing to look at it in the future. One of the issues that we've had is the reports are being submitted daily and reviewed by the sergeants before they pass through. The only real problem it would present is if we have someone that's taken into custody, the reports have to be all completed so that we can get the warrant packages completed. A lot of times, the officers report on the street. That's the first report that would have to be done, and the detective would do the follow-up and submit everything for the warrant package. So we would have to get it done and typed that day so that we could get the warrant package completed. Again, it's probably something we could do. We'd have to look at increasing secretarial staff potentially, or administrative staff who could type those, or finding a pool someplace where we could have those typed. But it is something certainly to look into, yes.
Yeah, and I want a price on it, because if I'm budgeting for it, I mean, if it's going to keep officers off the street, make it inconvenient, and we can make it more convenient. Seem like you understand it, I understand it. And then finally, because we didn't say a price on that, but I want a price on that. I want to fund it. And if it don't get used and it don't work, it go back to fund balance. But my point is this last point, Detective Bureau. I've always said over the years that if you got 20 patrol officers and 5 detectives, the patrol officers turn in 10 complaints a day. After a week, them detectives is overlogged. How many detectives we got?
I think all total upstairs.
Not overlogged, overworked.
They are.
How many?
You're right. I have one that I know is handling all of the. Let me take a quick look here.
Yeah, cause you didn't, when y'all was doing y'all budget, you were scared to say to Mr. Neely you needed 50 officers and 20 detectives. You ain't scared to say it to me. You must ain't be scared to tell them what we need.
I told them more than that. Actually, if you look at the numbers, you compare cities of large size that handle, like New York PD, 1 officer for every 200 residents, Chicago, 1 for every 236 residents, Detroit, 1 for every 303 residents. We are 1 for every 919.
Well, how come you ain't never came to governmental operations meeting? Y'all been told not to talk to us. I'm being sarcastic. Let me stick to the point. We got plenty of time to play around. What would be the numbers and money needed to make the Detective Bureau better?
I'm going to tell you at this point, I have 15 up there. And that's another one of those where if I could have what I wanted, double would be the number. But
and what's the price tag on that?
Well, if you had 15 more at
what's the budget for the 15 you got now? Anybody know offhand, Eric, Amanda? Because the chief got somebody who helps and do his budget. He usually be here with us, but we're in a pandemic, so we doing like a batch job. Anybody know the figure that his Detective Bureau is funded right now? Because, see, that's the meat and potatoes. You get all these police complaints and people be hollering at me and don't nothing ever happen. It'd be stuck in the Detective Bureau. Last time we did investigation, Amanda, it was Clyde. It was about 10,000 outstanding complaints just laying there, over 10,000. That sounds like a lot, but you check me out. I don't say stuff on the public record. So what's anybody got a figure for that Detective Bureau funding yet?
No, it's not broken down. I'd have to
what's the overall? Can you tell me overall?
I only have the Patrol Bureau. Looks like $3.3 million for wages and salaries.
Nothing on the Detective Bureau separate?
No, I'm still looking.
Well, we got time. We got the second and third and fourth quarter. Chief, we out to try to see if we can help the police department. So, what's her name? Davina, did we do an amendment for the police department? We did one. That's the 10 officers. The Detective Bureau chief, I look forward to getting that information because you can't talk about patrol without talking about detective. Do you agree?
I do agree, sir. I will get you that number.
Okay. Thank you, Chief, for being patient with us as we go through this budget process in the middle of a pandemic.
Certainly.
Councilman, did you want to go one more? I have some questions.
Yeah, I could take a break, but my next one is going to start being the takeaways. So I don't want to be a monopoly. I will be quiet because I got some stuff I can be doing around the house. Clyde, you at home or you at City Hall?
I'm at City Hall where you
can't go get no lemonade out the refrigerator like me. Let me be quiet before I get in trouble. I'm sorry, Ms. Galloway. I'm quiet for now.
President Galloway, before before Mr. Mays leaves the line, I just want to ask, are you indeed going to have the special council meeting tomorrow? Because I need to start working on that posting and get it posted.
Yeah, I'm not going to leave the phone. I'm never going to leave, but I'll be listening. But, yeah, we need to try to put our best foot forward with our other colleagues. You never know. I was at the emergency room. You don't know what come up with these people. But, Mr. Winfrey, in all due respect, it is some politics going on here. I don't know who's responsible. It could be individual decision politics, but we got a budget to do and a city to run. So I thank you. I'm here. Yeah, if Ms. Galloway sign on, we might as well try it again.
And that's for 4 o'clock.
We're getting stuff done today. This is a good day.
The posting is for 4 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine. So I just, you got it, Davina?
I believe so. 4 o'clock tomorrow. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and work on that now.
Okay. And so, Clive, you received my letter, and it's a letter overview of the budget and then some questions that I have. And I did receive a response, and I did read through those responses, and they didn't answer my questions. I think it was a good overview of some pertinent information that explained some things, but it wasn't specific to my questions. And so I just had a couple of questions for you, Mr. Scorzoni. Are you still on the line?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Scorzoni, so I have a couple of questions. In the budget that you provided us, they have different, and I don't know what those numbers are considered, account numbers, like some of the account numbers that you have in here for professional services is 3225.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And so I'm just trying to understand, because in the previous budgets, they actually have a longer and a different cost. I don't know. Is it a cost center? I'm trying to understand how do I look at that? Why are the numbers different?
Yeah, we could try and print it with it actually, those are budget classification numbers, and I'm not sure why our system printed it that way, but I mean, the bottom line is it lines up the same way as it always has. So okay, I can look into trying to print it differently. I was wondering about that. I was like, I don't know how you reconcile, and when we're, approving a budget that has different cost centers, it just was a little bit confusing for me, and so I was wondering about that. But one of the questions that I asked that was specific is you said on the record, you said that the proposed budget of $72 million includes roughly $20 million to the pension and $10 million to the retirement. And so last year, can you tell me how much the city paid in those pensions? I think we didn't pay retirement, but we paid pension, or we did pay pension, but we didn't pay retirement. Can you explain to me what we did or did not do last year? When you say last year, do you mean the year we're in currently, or? Yes,
I'm sorry. Yes, the budget year that we're. Nope. I'm sorry. No, if I'm not. Well, maybe it is. It seems like either this year or last year we either paid in or was scheduled to pay in $15.5 million.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that honestly, but we are currently paying $24 million in total across all funds into the MERS system, and we are currently paying. So that's the pension. We're paying $24 million in total into our $25 million roughly into the pension, and then for retiree health care, we're paying. I have to look to see the exact numbers, honestly, but we're paying both of them right now.
So we are currently paying both of them.
Yeah.
So can you get me those figures? And the reason why I'm asking is because I would like to know what we paid in the 18-19 year and what we paid in so far. And the reason why I'm wondering is because if we allocated at least $15 million, we knew that we were building up our fund balance because we knew that we had a larger allocation that was going to be due. And so I just want to understand that, because I think pensions and retirement costs are, of course, always in the forefront. But it's interesting for me just to look at what we did before and where we're doing now to see what the difference in our strategy is. But one of the things I also sent you a question, Mr. Scorzoni, is on November 27th, there was a press release saying that there was more than $20 million that was found in the water fund. And I was wondering, now that you've been, doing this 6 months, you've brought a proposed budget to us. Can you explain how that correlates into, because the water fund is just, now this is only the projected to be minus almost $8 million. Now we do have a fund balance that's going to cover that, which is almost $14 million. And so after we look at that deficit, it'll bring us down to $6 million. But I'm just trying to get some understanding of that $20 million. Can you better explain to me where that is, or if that is in fact in this?
So I don't know. I mean, so there was a letter from Eagle regarding how much money we had in the water fund, I believe in November. And I'm still not totally sure where they came up with these numbers, honestly, because those were based on a report that was issued in June last year by the administration. I was not there. I don't know where they came up with the numbers. But that led Eagle to believe that somehow we had more money. And I don't believe that report was done correctly. So I think there was just a misunderstanding at this point of what's going on in the water fund. Go ahead. So the budget, though, just to be clear, the water and sewer fund budgets show you a number that says fund balance, but it's not really fund balance because that term doesn't apply to enterprise funds. The term we would use is net position, and I'm not sure if the system can't print that or what the deal is, but that net position is quite different than fund balance. And so net position is a balance sheet number. It's based on a very long-term view of the water and sewer system. And so I wouldn't get too concerned about negatives in those columns and rows, because that's something we have to worry about more very long-term. In the short term, the water and sewer system have been able to accumulate some cash and reserves, which is good, even despite the fact that, yes, we are losing some money at the moment. But again, as far as what that Eagle report was based on, I really don't know, because honestly, I didn't do it, and I don't really have a clear understanding to this day of where those numbers really came from. So I don't have a good answer for you at the moment. And I appreciate
that, Mr. Scorzoni, because I know that you've been, helping with your expertise in helping with reconciling and seeing where we are financially. And so I wanted to ask you that, because now that, again, we're 6 months in, that press release was done on November 27th. And so in looking at that, and thank you for that net position, I just wanted to understand where the $20 million is. And I think that it, just for me, our mayor does a great job at doing press releases. And so I just don't understand why he hasn't done a press release to help our constituents understand better this $20 million that we supposedly had. And so I'll look at that. The other thing that I had with where the water fund is, and I know that we're mostly dealing with the 101 fund, but where the water fund is, how much would you say that the water and sewer fund are losing on a monthly basis in the pandemic? Is it still about the $600,000 per fund that you spoke about in one of the earlier meetings?
It's about $500,000 for both funds. It's been a little better lately, and I don't know why that is. It could be stimulus checks. But yeah, basically, and I'm comparing it to last year. I mean, you could say, well, how do we determine what losses are? Well, I mean, just compared to last year, if we compare last year to this year, we were down even before the pandemic a little bit, but now we're down. Our collection rate is probably in the 80% range at the moment. And I think the question is, the new stimulus bill in Congress does allocate money to water systems So if that does pass the Senate and is signed by the president, then we would clearly want to go try and seek funds from that.
But now that's the stimulus plan that there's some resistance from one side to really see a need for that. Is that correct? I mean,
well, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know too much about the politics in Washington, but.
Well, I'm just saying what I see on TV. I've heard because if we're looking at the fact that it's in there, who is that?
This is Winfrey.
Hello, Mr. Winfrey.
Yeah, I think that what Mr. Scarsoni is talking about is different than what you're talking about. I think the resistance is the new. There's talk about a new stimulus, and I think that some of the conservative legislators are saying it's dead on arrival, and that's different than what Mr. Scarsoni is talking about.
Perfect. I don't think and Herb, I get an email from Dan Gilmartin from the league and so I might have missed that other stimulus, but
if you notice, I preferenced what I was saying was if you notice, I preferenced what I was saying with I think, but I do think that you're talking about two different things.
Perfect. So, Mr. Scarsoni, thank you for the report that you sent me. So, according to the report that you sent me, this looks like it's through April 30th. So, with 2 months out, it looks like in revenue, how are you feeling about how we will end the year, the current year, revenue, expenditures?
I believe we will end pretty well. Both revenues and spending will be lower than the budget, but a lot of that is due to the jail situation. So the revenue isn't coming in, but neither is the spending happening. So it kind of balances out. So in the end, I think we actually will end up with about, I think it's in my report, I don't remember, 50-some million roughly in both. And I think, so the budget actually had us using fund balance for general fund. I believe we'll be close to maybe zero or maybe even a little positive. I caution it only because at the end of the fiscal year, so in June, actually probably in July, the accountants do a lot of accruals going back to that fiscal year. And I haven't been through that process here, so I don't know honestly how much accruals will occur, which will change our numbers. So, and we really don't know that. So we don't know the true numbers until probably in the fall. But so I'll be a little cautious because I don't, this is my first time dealing with this budget in this way. So, but I think in general we're on track. And I know that seems a little surprising even because of the pandemic, but it's just looking at where the numbers are right now. So,
you know what, that could be good because I don't know, Mr. Scarsoni, I'm not to cut you off. I was just thinking about myself and how much money that I've saved not eating out. And so just for me, I'm not speaking of anybody else, but I've reprioritized my money. And I'm like, okay, I need to pay this off. And so hopefully people are, looking at their water bill. But Mr. Scarsoni, Eric Mays, our council person, is very focused on public safety. I would like to turn your attention to the finance department, of which the reason why you're in that area is because there is need. And I think Councilman Mays mentioned earlier, one of the things he and I have talked about is some of the things that were raised in the audit was some of the dual, I'm sorry, my mind is kind of blank. I'm sure you know what I mean. At the bank, we used to call it dual services, but there's a way that documents are to be signed. So they should be signed in a hierarchy type of way. And so my question is, how is the finance department looking with staffing, not just in COVID, because, COVID allows us to maneuver and have some people work in, but the last we talked before COVID, that department was struggling. Is it still struggling with manpower and needs for vacancies?
Yeah, I think clearly the department for a city this size, it would at least be good, in my opinion, to have a budget director. That because a city this size, like if you compare it to Lansing or I don't know, Warren or places like that, I think it's this is a big budget, and I think it would be helpful to have someone who could do that full time. Then we do have several accountants who I think are doing pretty well. We have the purchasing office. So I think part of it is we just, I think one or two positions might be useful. I mean, I know that things are tight, but I will say the people have stepped up a lot during the pandemic, and I think have done a great job, honestly. But yeah, I think probably at least one position would be helpful. But yeah, I mean, I think the department, we need, once the pandemic is over, then I think we'll have a little more freedom to finally kind of relook at these issues again. I think we were starting to do some of that, but honestly, once everything shut down, it was almost impossible to really do that effectively. So
when you say a budget director, are you recommending that position in addition to the CFO?
I mean, it's just my advice. I'm not really recommending anything. I'm just saying, that I think a city this size, again, I know of other cities that are similar to Flint, and I think generally they would probably, and I think Flint did have a budget director maybe 10 years ago, from what I recall, but I think having a budget director and a CFO, because then the budget director does budget, they focus on that all the time, and then the CFO is doing CFO responsibilities, which are quite a lot beyond the budget. And then the deputy CFO is there, maybe handling more of the accounting side. So I think with the city this size, like CFO, deputy CFO, and a budget director makes sense. Or I guess the other option is perhaps a deputy CFO who handles budget. But
point of information.
What's your point of information, Mr. Mays?
Through you to the speaker, if you think this and you got a figure and a salary, can we hear it?
I would have to think about it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to think about it.
And Mr. Mays, that's a great point because, and Clyde, maybe I can ask you, in the meeting on Tuesday, there was a grant from the Mott Foundation that I thought it said that it allocated money to support the needs of the finance department. Is that right, Clive? Are you still on the line?
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'd have to go back and look. I'd have to go back and look at that. It was in the documentation that had been submitted by the city prior. It was really an outline of what the city defines as its needs to Mott, and so these positions were listed. I mean, you could be correct. One of them could have been finance, director of finance, or something related to that. But so I won't be in error. I'm saying I would have to go back and look at that material.
Would you please, Clyde? And the reason why I say that is because as it seems like, and I could be wrong too, those meetings sometimes there's a lot that's being discussed, but it seems like one of them, one of the things that was being talked about is the budget or the financial needs of the city. And I don't know if Mr. Scorzoni was a part of this, but I know that in here it said that the salary was $350,955. And so, Clyde, maybe if you could clarify that to see, because if we do all the budgetary changes that we need to, but we don't have a finance department that is healthy and vibrant, it just seems like it creates a bit of a challenge. And so I would like to focus some attention on strengthening that finance department And then my last question for the budget, are there any positions that are being budgeted in the finance department, and what is our search, what is it looking like for a CFO? Are we, I mean, I know that the salary is part of that Mott Foundation salary going to help subsidize our search for a CFO. So if that could be, that's a question that I have. Clive, if you know, Mr. Scorzoni, if you know, or Amanda, if you know, I don't know if anybody from, who is HR these days? Mr. Clive Edwards, who's HR these days?
Charlie McClendon.
So Charlie McClendon was actually on at the same time as Tyree Walker. So did they hold the same title, or can you explain what the titles were? Is Charlie the HR director?
Charlie stepped in. He didn't come right at the same time. There might have been some overlap, but he wasn't here right exactly at the same time. And Charlie was handling contract negotiations. That was more of his expertise. But when we lost Mr. Walker, when we lost Mr. Walker, Mr. McClendon stepped in to fill that void.
So is he the HR director?
That is correct.
So usually the HR director, I thought, was a position that was a mayoral appointment that required council approval, and I don't remember. And even if he is interim, that interim has to be placed before council within 90 days of his placement. And so if he in fact is the director, when does the administration plan on bringing his appointment before the council?
I'm gonna have to acquiesce to Angela, because this has been a continuous situation. I mean, no disrespect to you or any other council person. This has been a continued situation that's been under discussion, but it was said or brought to our attention, at least from the legal department, not all appointees have to come. Only those that are part of the executive staff, not every appointment. And Ms. Wheeler says she has indicated that to council. But I mean, once again, I'll have to acquiesce to, we'll have to get her, if she's not on right now, we'll have to get that, if we have to, we get it in a formal opinion. I thought there was a written formal opinion about it, but I
don't need a formal
I'll make
opinion,
sure that we get one, because that's my understanding. All appointments, only the executive appointments are the ones that council has to actively review and, give consent to. But the rest of them...
Is Rob Benzik considered an executive appointment?
No, he's not. Departmental appointments are not considered. If I understand, I don't want to misspeak myself. That's why I said I want to get Ms. Wheeler, Attorney Wheeler, as a part of this, because I know she wrote something in relationship to this.
Could I ask, Madam President, could I ask a question?
Go ahead, Mr. May.
Yeah, could we kind of do a little bit more on this budget and these finances and these amendments, and then get to that other stuff on another day? Because this can be, I got a lot of questions on that and comments.
And you're going to be able to stay on as long as you want to, because I'm going to be getting off in about 15 minutes because we don't have a quorum. But Mr. Mays, this is important.
Well, we can end the meeting at any time. I'm just trying to do a budget.
Yeah, I'm doing a budget too. We didn't have a HR director. And so that is a proper question for a budget that we're talking about.
That's relevant, but you see it head into an argument about who had to come for appointment. Let's leave that for another day.
Mr. Mays,
Councilwoman
I'm not arguing
Galloway.
with Clive, I'm not arguing with you. Please don't see
no,
that.
I'm not. I'm coming back to an earlier point you made. I found the positions that, did you want to hear the positions that were in the Mott Foundation piece? So I just wanted to.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure that Mr. Mays doesn't set a narrative. There's no arguing going on at all. Mr. Mays spent a lot of
No, I
time.
agree that he should come for appointment. I don't need to hear from the city attorney to tell me whether or not certain people need to come for approval. I'm saying let's save it for another day. Let's get this money and finance out the way.
Well, Mr. Mays, I'm going to spend 15 more minutes, but what I'll say to you, Mr. Mays.
Well, let me get 2 more amendments out the way, and then you can go for 20 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I was on the road. I'm trying to get these so Davina and them can work on them and draw them up, and they specific, they dollar amounts, they hazardous pay, they Hasselbrink and Brennan. Let's at least get that done, because you already talked about leaving. Let's just knock out this business.
Mr. Mays, all I'm saying is you're not extending the same courtesy to me, sir.
I have and I will, but y'all going into governmental operations. I want to do budgets.
Mr. Mays, fine. Mr. Clyde, can you talk to me about, you said you found the salary compensation?
No, you asked about the Mott Foundation resolution that we just passed and the previous administration's submission that had jobs on it. So I was just going to give you those job titles that were on their previous submission.
No, I didn't need that. I had that. I just was asking.
I thought you asked me to go see if I could locate it or not. Okay.
No, I have it. I was just asking if the money that was allocated for salaries that would help with finance, would it be able to help with the needs of the finance department? That was my question, where that was concerned, not departmental. I have it. I just didn't know if it can supplement, like the recommendation that has been made by Mr. Scorzoni for a possible budget director, if that could be something that can be considered with those funds, that if you could check that piece of it.
Well, I did, yes. Out of that, I do understand that they were talking about capacity, and particularly finance was one of the capacities that was listed in it. So that would not be out of the boundaries of the use.
Perfect. That's all I needed to know. Thank you so much. Mr. Mays, you can end with the rest of your questions.
Okay. To the people who we've been working on this, Mr. Scorzoni, Amanda, Clyde, if you know, it was about 300 employees that we approved from the council side. I don't know if it's been paid or administered yet, but it was a price certain. Seemed like it was about $400,000. This was like hazardous pay or frontline pay, whatever we named it in the city of Flint for our employees. It covered about 300 employees. Y'all familiar with that?
Yes.
It was a total of about 500 employees. Y'all familiar with that roundabout number?
Yes.
So the 200 that was left out, if I had to estimate, 300 of them was about 400,000. 200 of them should be 200,000 or 300,000. If there's any money left over, it go back to the fund balance. So what I want to do is try to propose a budget amendment, because the 300 employees, maybe it was in the last budget, or maybe it's going to be in this budget. Do anybody know if the 400,000 in hazard pay for these employees was in this past budget or current budget, or is it in the upcoming? It had to be something happening for the 300 in the current. Amanda, Eric Scorzoni, Clyde, Mr. Scorzoni, I don't want to disrespect nobody, Miss Tricia Hill, Miss Donahue. From what account, it can come from fund balance, always if need be. I want to see these amendments come. Do you move to what account the money for the other 200,000? So I would propose about that budget amendment would read to move that and include every worker involved in this, because in my understanding, people done died, people done got sick. You can't give people money for putting their life on the line, but you sure can do them and make them feel like I felt, as poor as I am when that 1,200 hit for that stimulus. So this is our local stimulus, help, whatever it is, pandemic money. Now, if it end up, we done spent $700,000 put it in the pot of money that we gonna ask Gretchen Whitmer, the state, Trump, and them back from, because everybody getting money back, municipalities. So I would propose a budget amendment for another $300,000 for that type of pay, unless y'all want to narrow it down, but we got between now and Monday. So, Davina, Mr. Scarsoni, Amanda, can we make that resolution written and available for us to decide how we vote?
You got to find out where the money's coming from.
It's going to always right now come from fund balance and go to whatever account them other 300 was paid in. Y'all know what I'm getting at. I mean, that's why I keep saying, if we need to hammer out these numbers, because I done gave you probably about 4 or 5 amendments to the budget, and they're timely amendments, and some of them are easy. I would rather y'all talk about the account numbers on the phone now, or if y'all gonna get together, that's fine. But these resolutions, we can only act by written paperwork in most cases. We got a budget to adopt Monday. Y'all need to talk.
We will, we can work with the van to figure it out.
Okay, I'll go to the next one. Okay, then the next one would be Hasselbrink Senior Center and Brennan Senior Center. It's going to be a little controversial because some people, Mr. Scarsoni, I don't know if you know Amanda, because I forget what the other finance people's names was, but $20,000 a piece, because we own the structures of them buildings. One of them need a roof. We better make it 20. Yeah, 20. They can come back if they need it. But $20,000 a piece to Hasselbrink Senior Center and Brennan Senior Center. I would need that resolution, or, I don't think, 2 separate, one pass or one for Brennan, but the council is pretty smart. They're not going to discriminate. Maybe against me, but not against the centers, I don't think. We just give McKinley some money. Okay, so, yeah.
This is Davina. I just want to say, with the figures, what I'll probably do is end up contacting you first just to clarify all these figures and everything before I would work with them as well. So everything that you're talking about, I will call you tomorrow morning so that we can hammer out the details that you're bringing up now. Just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay, and now let's look at the takeaways, Mr. Cassoni and Amanda, and then I can take a breath and feel like it was a productive day. I know I'm forgetting somebody or something, and they might want to call in, they can text, but we got to do a budget that's going to serve the residents. I don't want no layoffs. In the fire department, is the chief still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yes, I'm still here.
Through you, Madam President, to the fire chief is Chief Barton, right?
Yes.
And you done been all through the union ranks and chiefs, so you understand all sides, personnel, management. Let me ask you this question. Last year, we did one of these amendments, and I was pleasantly surprised. We got it through. It was for $1.7 million. We went through the same process. You remember that?
Yes.
And y'all was prepared to lay off. Notices had went out, right?
Correct.
And the mayor's proposed budget, it was known. And so Councilman Mays, along with 8 other council people or so, I don't know what the vote was, but we passed a $1.7 million budget amendment, I think, from the fund balance. And what happened next?
We kept everybody.
So let me ask you this question, Chief. How many of them people last year do you remember? 20, 30 some? How many was going to get laid off?
I think it was around 20. It might have been around 20 or so.
So did y'all lose 20 people in attrition this year, or why y'all didn't need to do nothing? No, it was more additional money put where we didn't have to do no amendment. What was the difference this year than last year? Why I ain't hearing nothing?
Well, the current budget that the mayor proposed kept all 83 firefighters. We currently have 4 positions not filled. One through retirement, two.
Let me stop you there and make it because I heard that. I heard you in the other meeting. I'll be listening. My question is this: did this year's budget increase in that area from last year's proposed before we did the amendment? Did the mayor this year look and see, okay, it would take this and y'all propose keep it at the same rate? Do you understand my question? What happened this year?
No, it didn't increase. He just maintained the numbers we had.
Including that 1.7 million?
Yes.
So that means the 1.7 million this year don't have to be an amendment because this administration kept it in there.
Already included all the employees. That's correct.
Okay, that would be how I would want to look at it too. So you saying for right now y'all peachy keen?
Yeah, with the 83 that we have in our budget, yes, we are.
And so the 4 that you got to fill or unfilled, how much do that come to if they wasn't unfilled? That's about how much sitting there?
Roughly about 300,000.
Okay, so if I said give me back that 300,000 and don't fill them, what would you say? I need it, or Mays or council, we can't do that, or we need them, or what would you say to that 300,000 before I decide if I leave it there or ask for it back?
We actually need the positions. We currently now, especially during this pandemic, are having overtime. It hasn't been a lot. Okay. But we do have overtime.
Okay. So we leave it laying there. If y'all can fill them and recruit, then if not, it'll go back to the fund balance. Okay. Thanks, Chief. If you see any money, any need, let me know. That's the fire department. You know y'all police and fire eat up the bulk of the money in the general fund.
Yes.
But y'all, okay, we'll keep talking. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Scarsoni. Mr. Scarsoni.
I believe he's left the call.
Okay, Amanda, you there?
Yes.
Listen to this, Amanda. Do you know how to look at this mayor's proposed budget by quarters? The first quarter, the second quarter, and the third quarter.
This budget is for the entire year. I mean, you just have to, divide this each amount in 4 to, do each quarter.
Now, let me ask you this important question. Let's say I wanted to leave, other than these amendments that I just made or plan to make, let's say I wanted to leave the first quarter intact. But by the time we get to the second quarter, I'm going to know them details of them departments in and out. And I'm going to also know how much I'm going to ask for from the state of Michigan and the federal government. You follow me? Because if we losing 500, 600, 700,000 a month, and you know what my water bill is, I'm like, they ain't cutting off. I got to juggle and do this and that. But my position is about 2,000 an hour. But my position is this. If we gonna try to get 300-400 million back from the state, I mean not 300-400 million, 3 or 4 or 6 million back from the state to fix that pandemic, water stuff, no shut-ups and all that. I know you can follow me on that. And then we gonna ask for other money that I think, state municipalities should get. We should know in 3 to 6 months what that money will be. So I'm willing to pass the mayor's proposed budget for the first quarter, and then we continue to detail stuff and get knowledge for the second and third. Now, if we ain't did that, by the second quarter, you would come back and say, I want an amendment. But the only amendment you would be asking for is the legacy cost payments. You hear what I'm saying? We increasing the legacy cost payments from 20-something million to 30 million. You follow me? Over the course of a year. Correct?
Correct. Yes.
And we pulling that money out of the fund balance, correct?
Yes.
So we should be able to look at the first quarter and leave everything intact. Do these additional amendments that I'm proposing because we done heard they necessary. Some of them are passed, some of them are failed. But what I want you to work on with Davina, and Davina we'll talk, is the resolution that'll pass the whole year's budget. And the only thing you got to come back to us each quarter for is pulling from that fund balance money to pay that 30 million versus the 20 million. Do you understand and see what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. However, I'd have to check. I know we're going to do amendments because of this pandemic. That was the question that other treasurers were asking. Do you put your budget the way you want it to be, or are you going to, do amendments as you go? And that was the consensus with other municipalities that I was in contact with, because we don't know, what's going to happen.
Right.
Is there going to be a second wave? Is there going to be, how much money are we going to get from the state or the federal government?
That is correct. And when the mayor proposed this budget, we didn't know that we would go through this pandemic.
Exactly.
And so now that we know it as trust, beg your pardon?
So I said, exactly. We didn't know that at that time.
I believe that things going to flow like the water crisis, because you was in the department in the water crisis and you seen the money come in for water credits, but we don't know if it'll flow in 3 months, 6 months, or 8 months. So I'm thinking we better hold on to some money in the bank, because we got even some litigation that could come. But my point is this. It's going to come. So I'm going to ask the council, and I'm trying to see if you and Amanda,
Welcome to My One Number. The recording has started.
Yeah, I've been here since we got out of emergency managers. That's Paul. I remember when the city council and the council people used to manage the pension fund. When you hear Scarsone and them say, when we got in the MERS, Evan can do what they want to do. They can come to the meetings, equipped or unequipped, with amendments. But now, when I do this and say this, then Ms. Galloway, I'm going to be quiet. Herb, Jerry, I'm going to be quiet. But I want a resolution that if that pension allocation of that $25 million, for example, broken quarters is $3 million, that means each quarter $3 million, 4 times $3 million, $12 million was coming out the general fund, the fund balance. I'm willing to do the first quarter, put that other money back in the whatever account city is, the resolution say it need to be showing that that money coming out that account back into the fund balance, and it's going to put $9 million or more for them last 3 quarters back in the fund balance. If I detail this budget and we get this money in and things work right, by the second quarter, y'all would come, the administration, Neely, y'all, Clyde, would come to the council for a budget amendment. Y'all running smooth. Y'all got what y'all want. No layoffs. Y'all got what you want. We ain't even detailed. But the deal is this. Them last 3 quarters on the pension liability, that's the amendment you would come for. And the resolution,
I want you to finish, and then I needed to speak after you.
Okay, and then the resolution that Davina and Amanda now draw up, because I know you can look at that account and you can know where that contribution went from 20 million to 30, and you know how to slide 1/4 of it back to the fund balance. Rather than me open the pocketbook up for 72 million, I want to knock it down to about 60, because they project 59 million, but it's going to be less than that. But we're a good city. The Weave administration, the activists, the council people, we know how to lobby. And you going to be successful, Mr. Edwards and others, lobbying, and we going to get another 5 to 20 million. And then we'll be able to set the budget. It's responsible for me to try to convince my colleagues, even those that ain't here, particularly some of those ain't here, that we ought to keep at the purse strings. Let's do it responsible. We've come out of emergency management. We got sense. We know what our people is asking us for. And then we ain't arguing with nobody. We just saying, let us hold the purse strings rather than open them up. Come talk to us each quarter, and you might be just like the first quarter. Everybody happy. Okay, Clyde, Madam Chair, through you to Clyde. I'm listening.
Yeah, I fully understand what you're proposing, Councilman Mays. So I want to be crystal clear about that. I do understand the intricacies, the operational flow of that. However, where the administration would, have to take exception on that is that we're talking about a committed group of people that have been and were engaged in city operations and a part of the city family. That what you're saying to me is that there's a contingency here as to whether you get that paid based on some circumstances or changes in those circumstances. But what I say to you is that I'm not talking about any particular administration. I'm not, this is a conversation about the budget, as you pointed out. But there's been a major deficit for this group of folks. There's been a major deficit for some time now that has put us in a predicament, in terms of the state. And so it is about fulfilling that requirement, at least getting up to, we're not really even going to get to the level. You should understand that where we're trying to place our pension payment is not even where we really truly should be. What we're doing is trying to get in compliance. The payment has been so low that we're running into serious problems as it relates to requirements with MERS. So this is about trying to, and it's going to take many years of compliance just to allow us to be in the realm to do what we need to do for the folks that have retired from the city. So this is not about just making a payment or depending on, we made lower payments. And like I like to use the example of the payment was $5, we've been making $2 payments. And so anybody that knows in your own personal budget, if you only make $2 payments and a $5 payment is coming every month, after a while, you are really seriously in the hole, such that the creditor will be ready to sue you. So this is about balancing, getting that payment to maybe $3.50. But we're still not paying the $5. We're not paying the whole thing any way you look at it. We're just trying to get out of the zone where other action may occur to the city.
So, Mr.
We're trying to get them out of that. We're trying to. Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question. Let's say me and you saying the same thing. We just talking about how do you get there cautiously. Because remember, I'm going to take pride in working with some financial folks. I don't care who didn't like them. Huey Newsom, Ambrose, Sabuda, all these financial people. Tamar Lewis, Amanda Trujillo, Eric Scrosoni. We saying the same thing no matter how you say it. I'm asking who do you trust it and how do you administer it. I ain't going to be the final say. All I'm saying to you in this administration is you admitted in the meeting with Kate Fields and them, you didn't, but Eric Scrosoni or somebody, we overlooked some things. One was the ombudsman. I think the administration agree on that and the council, the majority agree on that. So that's just how budgets is. It's always amendments. And I'm saying if it's a state law, listen, if it's a state law, this council is responsible. We paying the first quarter state law required bill. We gonna pay the second law state required bill. But since we're in a pandemic, and since we had some opportunity to do electronic meetings, and it's been two different sets of council people allowed to talk in two different meetings, either way we get there, we got there. All I'm saying is these are the proposals on the table for some amendments. We don't know what the council agreed. It's just Mays talking. And whatever they agree upon, of course, those going to be amendments to the mayor's budget. Now, you can do it either way. You can say, okay, we got a list of them amendments. We pass the budget as is, and we'll bring them amendments. That's when you got trust, and then you bring them after the fact. They're still there. Or you can do them on the front end. And the news will report, if depending, they don't like me, but they'll report this is the council's amended budget. The mayor can accept it or he can veto it. The point is this. You done proposed your budget. We say pay the first quarter as is. I don't even know what the rest of it looked like. I don't know where stuff done went up at, even though I asked a month ago, and I ain't tripping. We in a pandemic. I don't know if it's new trucks in the street department because they done played us to Monday. This is Thursday. And I don't want to filibuster and not compromise and negotiate, but I don't care how 5 or 6 council people vote. If I ain't satisfied and I don't think the people I represent is satisfied, I'm going to vote no or abstain. I'm trying to get everybody to vote yes, ain't nobody losing nothing, and then you'll come back. We might be out of the pandemic, but at least we'll be able to have some meetings and I can see what this budget look like. Now, I'm taking a chance because I'm proving everything operational or proposing it be approved. Ain't nitpicking because we spending millions. We'll have to do another budget next year. But ain't no way as a trustee of the city do I just rubber stamp a $72 million spending budget when I'm only projecting $59 million or less. And now it's going to probably be less. And, you know, I know about the pension fund. I know about it when we used to manage it as a city and when it went over the MERS under.
Welcome to My One Number. The recording has started.
Yes. And it hit us in the second quarter. Yeah.
Mr. Mays, I'm on 15 minutes over, sir. I really have to get off. And so,
Heard you got to go.
You and I are the last two on. They had to get off.
Well, that's okay. Well, we got something posted for tomorrow. So let Clyde or whoever, y'all, any of them can have the last word. I'm going to just see, Davina, how this paperwork go, and we'll take it from there. It's been a good meeting. I'm sorry. I'm quiet. Ms. Galloway, Clyde, whoever. I'm muting myself.
Yeah, we're here. We're here to work with council, but that the budget, as the mayor has presented it, the budget is in place to ensure that residents keep a certain level of service. I understand that, as Mr. Mays pointed out, some various trade-offs as a part of that. I just know that at this point, council has to look at it, and as Mr. Mays pointed out, you represent your residents, as the administration represents the whole city, but you represent the residents of your ward and have to look and look at the city as a whole as well. But this is a good budget to move forward with.
Can you hear me?
I barely can hear somebody. I can hear somebody talking, but they're barely coming through.
So there's an echo. Davina, can you guys, there's an echo. Like, is anybody near? Okay, so there you go. Go ahead, Clive. I'm sorry. There was a resounding echo. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just hopeful, prayerful that you guys will be prepared on Monday to move forward with the budget that's been presented. And with now the Councilman Mays did point out with the Ombudsman, I think there is a correction to be made there. The administration recognized that. But as far as we said before, budget is set up. This particular budget is set up to take care of the retirement fund. It's to take care of the health care funds as they relate to retirees. It's to maintain our employee workforce at the standard that it's at now, and it's probably not at the best that it could be, but it is in good shape.
Point of information. Don't you think that the 200 employees left out of the hazard pay is just as important in this pandemic, maybe, and be reimbursable? That might be a reimbursable cost. I would hope that the administration would look at that too.
Yes, it's not out of bounds. It very well could be a reimbursable cost. A decision. If you remember, Mr. Mays, that at a previous meeting, I told you this at that meeting because we joked about it, but I said there are two things that are going to be true. We can agree that a group of people need to get the hazard pay, but we may not agree on everybody that will receive it. And so that was a circumstance. Based on that dollar amount, we had to
agree. I think we should agree because, see, if I wanted to nitpick, I would look at every department and see what's changing, what's increasing, and why. But I'm confident in the ability of this city to lobby for dollars. And if this conversation that I'm having today in this public arena is putting figures on it, I can already see between 6 and 20 million, and we behind saying our specific amounts. And then when it comes to finance, Mr. Edwards, I got to look out for the city. If one of them lawsuits hit and we off guard, I'd rather the amendments come to the body rather than just, an open checkbook. But I
think somebody's trying to speak.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Edwards, I just want to say thank you for being available.
Thank you.
Having the staff available. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it. And so thank you. I really do have to get off, Mr. Mays. So I think that everything that has that, at least until tomorrow. And so
Yeah, Mr. Edwards, I was looking at it as a working session. We got some work done. Amanda, everybody with them numbers and resolutions. Davina, we'll see where we at tomorrow. And Mr. Edwards, can we expect for you to peek your head in and see where we at?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's it.